sure you're in the camera. Hi guys. Sophia Rashkin here. Rich, are you in the camera?
I can get in the camera.
All right,
Rich is
preparing his part here on Facebook. So we've got some people hopping on, guys. We'd love it if you guys came on and said hi to us and gave us a thumbs up. Let us know you're out there. Also, let us know how the volume is. Hi, Jenny. Just did a video yesterday with Jenny Vega, the owner of Cornerstone Books here in Inglewood, Colorado, and we went over iris readings as well as face readings. You guys should go to my Facebook page and check it out. Just uploaded the video. Hey, Darren, Douglas, welcome. J. David Moffitt, or I think you go by David, right? Welcome. Guys, if you guys are just hopping on, then, whoops, here, it's all right. We're messing with the cameras here, guys, so just be patient with us. There. How's that?
All right. Wonderful. Hope you guys can hear us. We had a little trouble last time, so.
Yeah, so here we go. Let me just make sure we're both in both cameras. Good?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, if you guys are hopping on, say hi to us. Put any questions and comments. Oh, David Moffitt. Loving the book, so he obviously ordered.
Well, thank you, David. I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah. So I am with author Rich Haas, good friend of mine, who authored Sacred Quantum Metaphysics. And this book is available, yes, it is available on Amazon.com. You can also go to sacredquantummetaphysics.com to get more information there or order the book there as well. So, tonight's topic, I'm excited about tonight's topic, and mainly because I have so much of my own personal experience. And we are talking tonight about reincarnation.
Yes.
And
I should mention real quick that it's also available on Kindle as of today, so
yes.
You can get it there also.
Yes, thank you for that reminder. Great, thanks Jenny for that feedback. And yes, it is a great book. I am really enjoying the book. I am still I'm still in the process of reading the book, and so what I've read so far, it is very enjoyable. It's great for those that are just starting on the path of asking those esoteric questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What is this all around me? Where is this coming from? And so it's great for those that are starting on that path, as well as those that have been on it for a little bit longer, intermediate, and then those that we would probably consider as, in human terms, expert, that are probably doing this as their life's work in some kind of career type of work. So this book is great for all three of those. And so we are talking about reincarnation. Is it real? Does our soul consciousness go on after we leave our physical bodies, and do we come back into more physical bodies, and do we have other lifetimes? I mean, those are kind of all, that's a big question. A big question, I think, that many Eastern philosophies and Eastern religions do believe, yes, that is taught, that we do have multiple lifetimes. And then I think, bottom line, just on even if you're not religious, that question probably does come up, and there's some kind of knowing, not even a belief system, but a knowing that other lifetimes do exist. We do incarnate, or what we say reincarnation. What is your... I've got a lot of feedback, but I want to hear what you say.
Well, I'm really excited to be able to talk about this, because in our Western society, it's almost as if reincarnation is not allowed to be discussed, because somehow it is an Eastern religion concept. And what I found out doing my research is that reincarnation was very much a major part of Christianity, also the Jewish tradition, up until an emperor, Justinian, actually outlawed the concept. It wasn't theologians that took it out. There's actually parts of the New Testament Bible that really Christ is talking to his disciples and talks about what can only be understood as reincarnation. So that's part of what I wanted to come up with today, is to be able to alleviate some of the disconcerting notions that we have that somehow it is anti-Christian, and it really shouldn't be. The Gnostic tradition that was won over by the Roman emperors actually included reincarnation as a major tenet of their belief. That's a Christian Gnostics. So we're here to talk about it and to dispel some of those myths, and I'm excited.
Yeah, no, that's great. And, you know, you're going to probably discuss some of the interesting aspects from your experience and your knowledge with religion, maybe scientific
And
stuff.
science, yes.
Yeah, and your own personal experience of maybe recalling and your work. Let's not forget that you had a practice as a hypnotherapist where you did past life regressions with clients.
Yes.
So, and then my own work as well. So we can start somewhere
Sure.
there.
Well, let me go and talk a little bit about my history. When Brian Weiss came out with this book, Many Lives, Many Masters, I started looking at that. I'd also kind of opened up to spiritual things through Dr. Raymond Moody and his near-death experiences documentation that we mentioned a little bit last time. But what I found is that this is a very powerful healing aspect for the clients. It's instantaneous healing if those symptoms or their problems came from something that happened in a previous lifetime. I also kind of put it aside for a while until the science started verifying it. One of the major studies was the University of Virginia. Ian Stevenson did a 3-decade-long study of 5,000 children who remembered a past life, and they initially started out trying to discount that and disprove it. And what they did was they documented what the child had said about a past life, and then they'd go back and look at census and newspapers and other articles to verify whether or not this was true. And what they discovered was that somehow these children are tapping into the history and the personality and other aspects of a previous life. Now they're scientists, their conclusions, they couldn't say past lives are real because they don't have enough evidence, but they said it's the most likely explanation. So here's some scientific studies being done around this, and this is just one of many. There's thousands of them that have gone along and documenting past lives, and the essential part of that is, how could you have a past life if there wasn't some mechanism for reincarnation? What we find is that if our consciousness can inhabit a body in this lifetime, when the body dies, it goes out of the body. The Bible talks about giving up the ghost, and there's other aspects of it. But then we can inhabit another body, and that's some of the research, and we can talk about how that's verified by Dr. Michael Newton and some of the others if we have time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can go, for up to an hour if we need to here. Just to kind of piggyback on that, because I do channeling with Eastern Ascended Masters, and so what I get when I am channeling, and I am a conscious channeler, which means that I am present. I'm like in a meditation place, but I'm very present to what the Ascended Masters are bringing through me and using me as a conduit to speak on their behalf. And so what I'm getting more and more so is it's almost like, I want to say the term past life because I think that's the most familiar for a lot of people, but they're almost they're basically saying that because we are multidimensional beings, all of the lifetimes are happening at the same time, and we're just at different dimensions, and they don't even like to call it dimensions because they say that's a scientific term, but there's just dimensions going on, and we're not able to see them because we're considered to be right now in the third and fourth dimension, so we don't see other dimensions. In this dimension, time exists. The other dimension, some of them, time does not exist. And so we're not able to see some of the invisible dimensions that are going on around us, and other lifetimes that are going on that are crossing over into this lifetime, and sometimes creating obstacles, challenges, interferences, and blocks in this lifetime. Not always, but they do. And so therefore, sometimes the interference could be a poverty situation, a relationship situation, just, other things that are crossing over. And so I wanted to see, I know you're chomping at the bit to say some things here. I know, go ahead.
I wanted to say two things. One is that with the releasing of my book, there's really no way I can take on new clients. So I'm really excited to be able to partner with Sophia here, and she can help take on some of that workload. I probably wouldn't be able to take clients until at least 2017. And the other thing is that a lot of the research that I just talked about, and some of the research that we'll talk about the rest of this hour or half hour, whatever it turns out to be, is documented in the book. And the book is, I'm excited because a lot of the life, I think that's one of the neat things, is you don't have to have money to get this information. My goal, this is my life, is to spread the word about these things, and if somebody can get that without buying a book, I'm perfectly happy doing it that way. Although once you get into it, you'll realize that you really need to underline and dog-ear the pages, and make sure you can go back and research different things. So
yeah, look at the dog-ears online. Yeah, certainly.
Well, and so Sophia is a wonderful healer and psychic and channeler and a lot of different things. So if anybody's interested in doing some kind of a work around spiritual things, contact Sophia. I know on my phone I put her website up on the little announcement of what we're doing here. So you can go and contact her and get the healing and the insights that you're really looking for.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And so, yeah. So there's my own experience. Just to kind of piggyback, because you are talking a little bit about my work, and you've done this in your work as well. I am able to see people's other lifetimes, since we're talking about reincarnation. I've experiencing my own some of my own pinnacle lifetimes with certain people, and how those relationships play into this lifetime. And right away, when somebody's telling me a little bit about themselves, what fears they have, obstacles, challenges in their lives, I'm immediately seeing things that they've experienced in another lifetime that are leading into this lifetime that become an obstacle. And so there's also a suggestion that they do some clearing and releasing work around that, and I do that work as well. That's something that you guys can see on my website, sophia-rashkin.com. But yeah, clearing, releasing all kinds of vows that we've taken in other lifetimes that don't serve us here anymore in this lifetime. So
one of the things that I dealt with quite a bit in my practice are people that are coming in and they would have an issue around relationships. They just can't find intimacy, or they just can't seem to get ahead financially, even though they try very hard to earn money and to save it. Things just aren't working. And when we'd go to the source of those problems, we would realize that there was a past life where they might have gotten a lot of recognition and accolades for being in a monastery or a convent, and they took a vow of poverty and a vow of chastity, and those kind of things hang on. We don't really want that in our life, but we hold on to it because of the accolades and the status that we got out of those in a previous life. We're looking for that, and we're holding on to those. But once somebody understands where that comes from, they can release it, and then it's gone forever, which to me is wonderful. I love that instantaneous healing.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Once you acknowledge and see, and it resonates with you on that cellular and soul memory level, that it was an experience that you had that you are holding on to, and you've come to that realization and align with that knowing, that in itself can be very healing and released. I agree with you, because I've seen that in my own self. Because I know that I have been, and you likely have served in some religion where we've been monks, nuns, priests, disciples of gurus, all, just in several ways for religion. And we've taken vows of poverty, chastity, celibacy, vows of silence, vows of obedience, and there's self-worth, because we are saying we're separating ourselves from source energy, and that source energy is something higher and bigger than us, when in fact we are part of source energy. And so there's self-worth there, and being obedient to a religion, and not respecting and honoring ourselves and putting ourselves first. So those are all types of vows that kind of come up when you serve for any type of religion, and most of us have. Most of us have. Even I can tell you, when somebody tells me, oh no, I stay away from religion. God, just please. It's because they've served in some capacity, and things might have gone awry somehow in that other lifetime. So now they're just like refraining from looking at any religion, but they have no idea why. They're not religious in this lifetime. They haven't been exposed to religion in this lifetime. But for some reason, they're just really repelled, and they have no idea why. And that's because something happened in that other lifetime.
Maybe I could go into a quick example, the personal example of myself. My soul group, and we'll talk about that in future things that we do, it has to do with going into a society and helping make change. I started a charity in this life. I've written a book now that helps people to evolve in their spiritual discoveries. And in my previous life, I came into the depression to help people, give them hope and encouragement, and get out of the doldrums. And how I did that was I started out helping in a church. And when the pastor or whatever died, they asked me to take over that church. And then as part of that, I had to follow the dogma of that particular denomination. And so I had some judgments that I did around divorce and some of the insanity that was there, and alcoholics and other people. And so in this lifetime, I needed to come in and experience a learning process around judgment and divorce. And so I had to go through my own divorce. My dad was alcoholic, so I learned about alcoholism. My mom was insane, so I realized it wasn't just possession that made her crazy. It was one of those things that I needed to follow for my own spiritual growth, and that's part of my history. And but once I've gotten through it, I've experienced some of those things firsthand. I'll never be judgmental about it again, and that's part of our process. So hope that helps people understand.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, not just religion, but in other ways too. It's like you talked about marriage. When we take marriage vows, and say our spouse passes away, we split up, and maybe during the divorce, even though the paperwork is there, there's cords, there are energetic cords that still bind us, and those have to be cut and released and transmuted. So when a spouse passes away, that the spouse's consciousness, the soul, is still holding and binding to us. And so for us to find another partner, allow ourselves and open ourselves up to allowing another relationship to come in, it requires sometimes releasing that other partner that passed away and clearing some vows around that as well. So it's not just about, yes, religion, which we both had our own experiences. There's marriage, and then financial stuff too. I mean, the vows of poverty that have been taken in other lifetimes because of religion, but also some things that maybe you did in another lifetime, where I've seen lifetimes where people were little children in their other lifetime, and they were holding a cup and begging on the side of the street, and that just kind of stays with them and comes into this lifetime, and they can't figure out why they're having any financial obstacles. There's a lot of, we see some of that as well as other things.
Well, and one of the chapters in my book is around the law of attraction and abundance. And part of what we know is in the spiritual universe, there should be no lack. That we create our own suffering here, as some people have said, but we create our own circumstances, that we learn our lessons. And once we give up those vows or give up those ideas that we have to hold a cup out and alms for the poor and those kind of things, there's actually an example in the book where you can create wealth out of nothing. And it shows people that in a spiritual universe, there should be no lack. And so that's just one aspect of it. Probably should talk about the overall format of the book. It starts with 24 metaphysical principles, including the law of attraction or reincarnation or karma or a consciousness existing after death. And then it integrates those with 12 recent scientific discoveries since Einstein. We talked about some of the research at University of Virginia. There's other research at Harvard Medical School that's in there talking about the benefits of meditation and how it can change everything. After we integrate those 12 recent scientific discoveries since Einstein, we also talk about Einstein, but then it's the last third is how to integrate those together. Put in the spiritual principles with the new science and how you can make a better lifetime for yourself and your loved ones. So that gives you the overview there.
I'm excited because we have a lot more to talk about than just reincarnation. Reincarnation. There's a lot. We're going to be covering. We're going to do a series of these videos, and we're going to be covering a lot of the chapters in Rich's book, Sacred Quantum Metaphysics, and that is available on Kindle as well as Amazon.com, and you can go to sacredquantummetaphysics.com to get more information, and you can get the book there as well.
Oh, and Barnes and Noble too.
Yeah, a lot of bookstores.
Well, and one of the things that I'm excited to talk about is that the spiritual research, and tells us that we're here to learn to make mistakes, to learn from those mistakes. When we get back on the other side, there isn't this massive judgment of a wrathful God. Those kind of things can be created if somebody wants that or needs that on the other side. But for the most part, it's just a loving, supportive atmosphere. And people get an idea that if we ever make a mistake in this lifetime, it can be an eternal black mark against our soul type thing, and that's really not what sin was. That's also in the book, is talking about how all of a sudden this archery term, which meant missed the mark, you missed the bullseye, is what a sin was, and it was never meant to be this thing that was going to hang around for you for eternity. That came out of Roman emperors, and and a few other areas, not the Bible, not Christ, not the Old Testament. So, in fact, in the Old Testament, all you had to do was sacrifice an animal, and you were relieved of your sin. Now, I don't like that happening to animals, and I wouldn't recommend it. But that tells you it wasn't this eternal damnation type thing. And if anybody carries away one thing out of this talk, and that's that you're loved beyond measure from the other side. They want you to be there to have a good life and to be prosperous, but also to go along your journey, but also to enjoy life while you're here too. It's not meant to be drudgery. It's meant to be a supportive atmosphere. So put aside any idea that we have this one chance that we're going to go through, and if we make a mistake, we'll never be able to recover from it, because that's not the spiritual universe I found from the other side.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, because that probably dispels a lot of that. The question, is there heaven and hell, right? I mean, that's a whole, we just open up we open up Pandora's box when we talk about,
Yes.
reincarnation. So, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
I was going to say that if you're interested at all in how Christianity kind of evolved away from the idea of reincarnation, it's really not essential to understand or put into practice sacred quantum metaphysics. So I put it into an appendix in the back of the book, where if somebody's interested in it, that's their hot button. It's there. They can follow it and understand it. But for most of us, it isn't necessary to actually be able to create a better life for yourself, and that's really what the purpose of the book is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm loving this. I just want to share. I mean, going back to personal experiences, because people like to hear a little bit about that. I discovered that I have done. I've been a seer to kind of give you guys the basic human terminologies. A psychic, medium, a shaman, a sage. I've worked with spirits in my life's work in many, many, many lifetimes. And that stuff came into this lifetime. That's why I know that knowing of reincarnation exists. I've been doing this type of work many lifetimes, been executed many lifetimes because of this work.
Sure.
Yes. And then in this lifetime, I had my own soul contract and decided, you know what? Have me live a little bit longer in this lifetime. So maybe not awaken me totally to the gifts that you bestow upon me until I'm in my mid-30s. And so that's kind of what happened. And so I've been doing the work, and the realization of the work, I should say, for almost 10 years now. Now, before that, I think I was just a fish living in water. I didn't realize I had the gift. I think I thought everybody else had the gift, and everybody does. It just happens to be that our life's work or career-wise is doing this work. And but everybody has the ability, like you said, to tap into our own knowledge, into what we call the Akashic records, where all the files are kept in all our lifetimes, and so much more than that. But so I know that I have done this, and that's where reincarnation has come into play for me. I didn't just wake up at 35 years old and go, you know what? I think I'm just gonna start doing this because I just, hey, I'm bored with my life, and I think I'm just going to start doing this. No. It's a calling.
Yes, it is. And I had mine a little bit different. I actually had what I call an induced near-death experience, where you don't have to almost die. I went to the other side through a life between life journey. I studied with Dr. Michael Newton, who wrote Journey of Souls. Wonderful book if you guys are trying to understand what the afterlife might look like from research, not somebody's speculation. But when I was on the other side, I got spiritual connections so deep that when I came back, that those connections were maintained. So I'm very blessed to be able to have those connections and be able to utilize them if they're there. And if somebody is called to do that, that can be a wonderful way to have them magnify their spiritual gifts. Like Sophia said, we all have some, but it's all how do we get those?
Yeah, we all do some type of, we all tap into that knowledge that comes from other lifetimes. It does come from somewhere, and it comes from soul memories, and all of us do it in different ways. We use it with our family, and whatever capacity that serves in work, just in all kinds of ways in our lives. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody should run out and do it as a career, because that's not really what your life's work is going to be about. Ours just happened.
We need educators, we need scientists, we need all kinds of things. Not everybody can be doing the same thing, but Sophia just touched briefly on the Akashic Records, and we talked about, well, that's going to be our next interview, is how do you access the Akashic Records? And that's where this is a place where Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Edgar Cayce, to name a few, realized that there's a profound reservoir of knowledge that where everything that's ever happened to us, past, present, and maybe future, is recorded, and people can tap into it and get that information. If Einstein and Tesla and Edgar Cayce could get that information, then the rest of us can, and it's actually very easy. And we'll go into that in our next little interview here.
Yeah, no, I'm
probably
excited.
2 weeks from now.
Yes, in 2 weeks from today, we will be doing. Yes, the next episode will be on the Akashic Records, and I'm looking forward to that one, because I tap into the Akashic Records, but I don't know, it's just coming, it's just coming into me, and I think we all tap into it in different ways. I'm not consciously going up there and going, okay, let me look at this file. Some people can do that. Some people can go up there and start viewing things and just flipping through like pages of a file. For me personally, the information just comes down when I'm asking the question, and it's just, I don't know how I know things. They just come in. I'm not thinking about it. I just ask the question, and the knowledge gets poured into me. So. Well,
the Bible talks about the book of life, and Edgar Cayce did. Now, you can go to the book of life and get all the information about you as a soul. It's been documented that I could take anybody who's listening back to the time when they're being brought home as a baby from the hospital, if they can't, we're born in a hospital, that is, and you can tell me word for word everything that your parents said to each other. That's by going to the Akashic Records. Now, Tesla and Einstein, they said this reservoir of knowledge exists, but they didn't necessarily say it was the Akashic Records. They never called it that. But my thought is that there's probably only one complete reservoir of knowledge, and they found it.
Yeah, it's source energy. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And again, guys, is there anything else you want to add?
I think we covered the major points on it's not a wrathful God that's around there, and that your consciousness has existed before your body was born, and it'll exist after. That's based on a lot of the scientific research in here. If you're curious on what it is, it's there. And from the research that we found out, that if our consciousness can inhabit a body in this lifetime and get released after our body dies, then we'll also be able to inhabit more than one body over eternity. So it's part of the research, and it's a very comforting thing just to understand without a doubt that this is not all there is. This is actually the hard part. And when we get to the other side, it's so much better than here. people that have been there through a near death or my personal type journey, we don't fear death anymore. When our time comes, we're going to be happy because it's much nicer and easier over there. This is the struggle here on this three-dimensional world. So I wouldn't hurry it. That's not allowed. But when my time comes, I'm going to be happy. So.
I agree with you. When my dad passed away this year, and so in communication with some of the things that I'm gaining an understanding of, he's on vacation.
Yes.
He's like, I'm on a good vacation. So anyway, I appreciate being here with you. 2 weeks from today, Friday, I think we said that was November or
3rd, I think.
Yeah, whatever. 2 Fridays from today, we will be doing another one, guys, on the Akashic Records. Again, anything else you want to add before?
No, I think that's about it.
You can find Rich's book, Sacred Quantum Metaphysics, on Kindle or Amazon.com. And you can also go to sacredquantummetaphysics.com for more information or get the book there as well. You can go to my website if you want to book or schedule an appointment with me. That is sophia-rashkin.com, SOPHIA- Rashkin is RASHKIN.com, sophia-rashkin.com. And next week I will be going to Arches National Park, and maybe if I have,
place.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've been invited there by another spirit realm, an invisible one that we deal with all the time, but we're not always acknowledging that, which is the cosmos. And so there's a lot of portals, gateways at Arches National Park, and I will be hopefully doing a live video from there. If not, I will do a video and upload it to Facebook for you guys. And then
cool. Before we go, I'd like to tell people that on that website, www.sacredquantummetaphysics.com, is a free chapter if you're interested. People get intimidated by the title. They think it's going to be hard to read and hard to understand, and everybody that's reviewed it has said it's very easy for even the novice, beginner, or expert to understand. And also on there is an entirely free download of Awaken the Enlightened Master Inside You meditation. And the whole purpose of that is to give you your own spiritual insights. You get the benefit of 4 decades of my work in the book, and then that free download, entirely free. You don't even give up your email address, the website. So it's my gift to humanity, and I hope you enjoy it. And thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys. We know that you choose your time wisely and who you spend it with, and we appreciate you guys being with us late afternoon or evening, wherever you are, whichever coast that you're on. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks with Rich, and I will see you guys next week from Moab, Utah. So much love and blessings to all of you. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.